Hello ladies and gentlemen, we're back for part 2 of the Trompowsky Attack. Yesterday, or in yesterday's video I suppose, we covered what black does to avoid this capture damaging the pawn structure. We covered knight to e4 and e6, which for those of you who are curious, yes, it does transpose after knight f3 into a Touré attack, which we will cover at some point next on the channel. But black does have a few ways of just allowing white to double their pawns. There are three main weapons employed by black. Firstly, you've got d5. As we said, if you play the Trompowsky, it's useful to know the London. Now you can play bishop takes f6, e takes f6. Strange to capture like this, but you might still want a castle kingside, so you don't want to damage your king safety. And now e3, bishop d6, and c4, and white goes along these kind of lines. Black can take, they really have nothing better because c3, I just take, and then you're left with an isolated pawn that I'll target for the rest of the game, so you have to take. Bishop takes c4, short castles, knight to c3, and now you can use that damage structure and play f5. This is a useful move. A reminder, all the moves will be in the description down below. You can go there and check them out, paste them into an engine for your own analysis, or just if you want to memorize them, paste them into a chess.com analysis board or whatever. And this is kind of the line that you can get, where black is going to use this damage structure because they can instigate and they can play f4. You might be tempted to play f4 yourself. You can't. I mean, not you can't, you can. You 100% can. It's not good. You know, queen e7 now, and you've got problems. You can play queen e2, but now I can just play bishop takes f4, and you lose. So you can't really play f4. So you can play knight f3, now knight d7, short castles, and you can play the position from here. But of course, this is not the only line for black to choose, and this is not the only way the game can develop, because this can look quite passive for black. They might be a King's Indian player, and they might play g6. Now here you can once again take. Now e takes f6, only choice. e3, all the same. Bishop to g7, and now, very critical, you can play the move g3. You don't have to put the bishop on d3 where it's biting into granite, particularly after black plays the move f5. You can allow them to play short castles and play bishop g2. And now this is the way you're going to maximize your piece. We've got d6, knight e2, and f5. And this is the structure you're going to have to compete against. Black is going to try and open this bishop. The move c5 might be played at some point. This bishop, it seems a bit passive, but it can always get out, or it can always support a kingside attack in the style of the King's Indian defense. Which again, I know it's a cheap plug every time. I have made a video about it. You can check in the playlist. You know, short castles here by white, and you know, knight d7, c4. Just you can play c3, but that's very passive. Knight to f6, looking to hone in over there, and now you play knight bc3. And this is the game you're going to get. You've got this bishop, which is monitoring that the whole time. We might get c5. Black can't really push for d5. I mean, you can try and build it up, but you're not doing much. You're trying to activate this bishop. So c5, get them to take off center, and then your bishop is open. You've got to compensate. What do I want? What do they want? And what is more pressing? Do I address their threat, or do I create my own threat? And this is what you do. And this is very typical in the style of the King's Indian. And not maybe the Grunfeld is a bit more off key. It's a very different structure. But, you know, when you've got two fianchettos going, you know, in various Queen's Gambit declines, there's this kind of structure. And this is something interesting to play with. Most definitely. So if black wants the bishop fianchettoed, a lot of players, you know, live by it. They play Grunfeld, they play King's Indian. That is what they're going to go for. There is one other way for black to go about it. So in total, we had two ways in the first game, that being knight here and here, and now we've covered this and this. There's one other move for them, and it was a move we spoke about a lot in the previous video, so I do advise you to go watch it, and that is c5. This move is like the bread and butter. When you see the Trompowsky as black, you play the move c5. Now, Bishop takes f6 again. If they let you take that knight, take the knight. G takes f6 now is played, and you might be like, wait, hang on just a minute. You've been telling us the whole game to take like this. Not anymore. Not anymore. In here, theory dictates that you play G takes f6. I mean, the top game is Magnus Carlsen playing with black. He did win, it should be mentioned. But then you've got Hikaru Nakamura next game with white against Jan Krzysztof Duda, winning with the white pieces in 2019. So, you know, it's been played. G takes f6. And now the line goes d5. You don't take. Because black is building for a big center. So you want to crush that. So queen b6 targets this. That's the drawback of developing your bishop so early. Now queen c1 in the most passive way you've ever seen. f5 because you know, bishop g7 and they're going to overwhelm you. You play c4, bishop g7, knight to c3, and now d6. If you play black and you play the Benoni, you will be very familiar with this type of structure. I haven't got a video on the Benoni, so nothing to plug there. But you'll be very familiar with this type of structure. Bishop fianchettoed, you know, the pawn on d6, the pawn on c5. You'll be familiar with this. Now e3, you can't really push e4 because it takes and then you lose over here. So what we will get is then, you know, knight d7, queen c2, knight f6, and now bishop to d3. We target that. You play e6. Rather let them take you. Like, it's tempting as white to do this. There's no point. You know, knight ge2. You can go for that, but there's not really a point to it. So I would advise that you just play knight ge2 straight away, because they're not going to take. They're not going to take. If they do take, they lose, because you just play c takes d5, and how do you defend this? And remember, they've voluntarily ruined their structure, so they will not want to ruin it anymore. So wait for the opportune moment to take this, and just keep developing, because you've got to make a decision. Because bishop d7, they can go either way, and so can you. Now, most games go short castles and long castles, and you play this position. However, and you will need an engine to check this, or you can play it by feel. If you wanted to play long castles in this position, I don't hate it. I don't hate it. You know, queen a5, and, you know, king b1, you'll be fine. Maybe not quite king b1 just yet. You don't need king b1. You can play, now you can take on e6, you can play h3, you can play f3 as well, begin your kingside attack. Black can, of course, long castle at any point to keep the symmetry. b3 is a bit much, particularly because they might come target you. But it's an interesting position. It's an interesting idea to consider. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Like, this looks very complicated from where we began. Like, we began all the way over here. We began all the way with this. And we ended up, you know, down the rabbit hole over here. It's not that bad, I promise. The Trompowsky, really fun opening. Lots to consider. And I know I said at the beginning of video part 1, and I felt bad because this has all been opening theory. A lot of this you can play by feel. It is something where if you really want to, like, this is all optimal, this is all theory that's been talked about and established. If you literally just want to play a London setup, you know, with e3, c3, knight d2, bishop d3, you know, f5 or f4 to go f5, knight f3. If you want to do that, absolutely fine. Go right ahead. You play chess the way you want to play chess. By no means is this the only way to play the Trompowsky. This is what theory at master level dictates to play the Trompowsky. If you're not a FIDE master, an international master, or a grand master, you don't have to play like this. You know, if they go d5, or not d6. d6 is a line though. If they play d5 and you want to go here, that's fine. Absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. You know, and they play c5, you play e3. And maybe they play like bishop f5, okay? I can take here. Okay, so what, they get a big center. I can play like knight gf3 and I hang on to this. Go right ahead. Play chess the way you want to play chess. Have fun with it. That's all, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed the video. And I'll see you tomorrow for Titus Steel preview.